Good afternoon, I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday, October 28th. TxDOT officials delayed the lowering of the center span of the Old Harbor Bridge yesterday. The barge Prometheus was allowed to move vessels to resume traffic in the Corpus Christi ship channel on Monday. The barge was later returned to its original position, and the channel is expected to be closed today. Officials said in a news release that the span must be lowered during daylight hours for safety reasons. They had planned to lower the center span to the barge below this morning. The lowering was delayed yet again today due to unfavorable weather conditions, which got in the way of the required full 10 hours of daylight needed to safely complete the operation. As of now, the span lowering has not been rescheduled. The barge will then travel to a dock in the port's inner harbor instead of the original plan to move it to a dock between Portland and Ingleside. Corpus Christi continues its search for alternative water supplies as a water emergency possibility looms next year. According to documents obtained by KRAS 6 News, CC Polymers will not move forward with a city proposal to acquire its desalination facility. KRAS reports in a letter dated on October 23rd, Jeff Shea, Chief Operating Officer of CC Polymers, informed City Manager Peter Zanoni that the company had, quote, decided not to proceed with the proposed discussions regarding the potential acquisition of our desalination property at this time, end quote. Corpus Christi is on track to reach a level 1 water emergency by November of 2026, when the city would be 180 days away from total water supply being unable to meet total water demand. At a city council meeting earlier this month, Nicholas Winkleman, interim chief operating officer of Corpus Christi Water, told council members that the seawater desalination plant was 90 to 95% complete, but had never been in operation. He said the plant could be upgraded to produce 31.5 million gallons per day and would cost $654 million. KRAS 6 News added that despite rejecting the city's acquisition, Shea's letter indicated CC Polymers remains open to exploring alternative forms of collaboration, including a water supply agreement, long-term expansion options, and land leasing for water infrastructure. The company set a deadline of November 30th of this year, after which it would, quote, explore direct water supply opportunities with private industry, end quote. And on the subject of water, levels at Lake Corpus Christi are currently at 13.1% capacity as of today, and Choke Canyon Reservoir is at 10.8% capacity. Early voting on 17 Texas constitutional amendments continues through this Friday. Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider reports one of the proposed amendments, Proposition 12, would grant the governor significant new powers when it comes to disciplining or even dismissing elected judges.
The State Commission on Judicial Conduct is an independent agency run by a mix of judges, attorneys appointed by the state bar, and citizens appointed by the governor. Proposition 12 would let the governor name a majority of the commission's members. John Domino is an expert on law and judicial politics at Sam Houston State University.
I believe that any attempt at so-called accountability and transparency is just an attempt to be able to push and pressure judges in some way. And intrude upon independence.
Domino notes that 6 years ago, Governor Greg Abbott removed 2 of the commission members that acted against Abbott's wishes by voting to discipline a justice of the peace who refused to perform same-sex marriages. I'm Andrew Schneider in Houston.
Tonight at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, those interested in stories surrounding World War II have an opportunity to hear from a survivor of the 1945 Nagasaki bombing. KEDT's Spencer Chioc has more.
At only 6 years old, Miyako Jodai was just over a mile and a half away from the drop site. While not being injured during the attack, she witnessed the last time a nuclear bomb was used in war. Now, just over 80 years later, Jodai is telling her story as a reminder to the devastation the nuclear bomb can bring. Joining her is Fumie Kakita, a second-generation survivor. The event is being hosted by the College of Liberal Arts at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Dean Kyoko Emano herself lost her uncle to the bombing of Hiroshima and discussed why it's important for people to know more.
Well, it's part of the trauma, right? So when my uncle came home after Hiroshima atomic bomb, he was alive for a month, but he suffered a lot. My grandmother became sort of selective mute. She never spoke after that. That's sort of the family story about just the trauma and not want to relive that moment.
The event is from 6:30 to 8 at the University Center Lone Star Ballroom C. There will be a presentation followed by Q&A. For KEDT News, I'm Spencer Chihawk.
Calhoun, Jackson, and Matagorda County residents can participate in a free study specifically targeting private well water owners. The study is being done by Texas A&M University at Galveston and offers free water quality testing and a community survey to help protect drinking water resources in those areas. Eligible participants must be 18 years or older and own a property equipped with a private water well. They will receive a personalized report detailing the quality of their well water. Testing will cover both regulated and emerging contaminants and total chloroform, nutrients, heavy metals, inorganic salts, organic chemicals, and forever chemicals. The study will also analyze contaminants like microplastics and radon. The study is estimated to last between 1 to 1.5 hours, which includes 30 to 60 minutes for well water sampling and about 10 minutes to complete the questionnaire. And you'll need to move your clocks back Sunday for a return to standard time. Now, there's ongoing debate about adjusting clocks back and forth an hour twice a year. But in this segment of the KERA series Vital Signs, sleep medicine specialist Dr. Bhavna Sharma of Baylor University Medical Center in Dallas tells Sam Baker she and many other doctors view standard time as a good thing.
Our body's internal clock, which is the inherent 24-hour clock, the circadian rhythm, is more in alignment with the standard time. We are naturally more inclined towards early morning light. So there is no reason to go into daylight savings time because we do have artificial lights in the evening, and our body's internal clock just works way better when we are in alignment with the standard time.
Why does that adjustment of an hour of sleep make such a difference?
There are basically three clocks that we are working with. One is our body's internal clock, which is a 24-hour circadian rhythm. Second is the solar clock, which we are really trying to change with daylight savings time, but doesn't really change. And then the third is a social clock, which is, generally school hours, work hours, which all usually start early in the morning and end early in the evening. So all of these need to be in rhythm, in alignment to maintain ideal mood and body rhythm. And this change from one time to the other, even though it is only by an hour, we have ample evidence to prove that it does cause changes in human bodies, especially, mood disturbances. There is increase in safety-related incidents, even increased incidents of suicide, depression, traffic incidents, etc. And this is mainly because the circadian misalignment, which happens even by this 1 hour time change.
But this is something we can or do get past after, few days or so, maybe a few weeks or so, or is it sometimes longer lasting?
Yes, thankfully, human bodies are great natural machines, so we will all adjust. Some people much sooner than others. I think the people it affects the most are usually children. They have a harder time adjusting to these changes in clock. Their circadian rhythm takes a little while to get adjusted, but usually over a course of few days to few weeks, our bodies do adjust back.
So how do you prepare for the switch back to standard time?
Some people recommend gradually shifting your sleep schedule, trying to get back into bed a little bit earlier, a few days before the time switch. So maybe just a 10 to 15-minute shift every day. The most important thing is really to maintain a consistent sleep-wake schedule. Sometimes limiting caffeine and alcohol, especially in the evening hours, is really, really helpful. Limiting exposure to screens, especially cell phones, which are everywhere in all our bedrooms now. It would also be helpful, especially again in school-going children, to keep the bedroom curtains down until it's time to wake up, because it will be sunlight earlier, which can really wake people up. So just to get in line with the new rhythm, keeping the bedrooms darker until your clock goes off. And then exposure to morning sunlight really does help your body get back into sync with the new time. It's the biggest trigger for our brain or the cue for our brain to get going that it's time to wake up and start the day. Going out for more than 10 to 15 minutes is really very helpful, but even opening up curtains, blinds, everything is helpful. But exposure to outside sunlight is definitely the most helpful thing.
Dr. Bhavna Sharma is a sleep medicine specialist at Baylor University Medical Center in Dallas. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.